At 5:30 in the morning, Elna Morris woke up to the sound of crying outside her front door. At first, she thought it was part of a dream. The house was dark, rain tapped softly against the windows, and the old street outside was completely silent. Then the cry came again. It was weak, desperate, and unmistakable. A baby was crying. Elna lived alone in a small house at the end of Willow Street. Her husband had passed away 3 years earlier, and since then, the house had felt painfully empty. They had always wanted children, but life had never given them that gift. She put on her robe and walked toward the front door with fear in her chest. When she opened it, cold wind rushed into the hallway. On the doorstep, wrapped in a blue blanket, was a newborn baby. For a moment, Elna could not move. The baby was tiny, red-faced, and shivering. Beside him was a small bag with a bottle, a few diapers, and one folded note. Elna looked around the dark street, but no one was there. The rain had washed away any footprints. Whoever had left the child had disappeared completely. She picked up the baby and carried him inside. The moment she held him close, his crying softened. His tiny fingers curled around her robe, and something inside Elna broke open. On the kitchen table, she unfolded the note. The handwriting looked shaky, as if someone had written it in fear. It said, "Please take care of him. His name is Noah. Do not try to find me. One day, the truth will come out." Elena read the words again and again. She did not understand what they meant, but she felt that the note was not written by someone careless. It was written by someone desperate. She called the police immediately. Officers arrived, searched the street, took the note, and asked many questions. They checked hospitals, nearby cameras, and missing person reports, but nothing led them to the baby's mother. No one came forward. No family claimed him. No young woman arrived at the station asking for her child. For weeks, Noah stayed in temporary care while authorities investigated. Elena visited whenever she was allowed. She brought blankets, bottles, and small toys, and every time she held him, he became calm. When the investigation went cold, Elena made a decision that changed both of their lives. She applied to adopt Noah. Some people in town whispered about it. They said she was lonely. They said she was too old to raise a child alone. They said a baby with an unknown past could bring trouble. But Elena did not listen. To her, Noah was not trouble. He was a life placed at her door during the loneliest chapter of her own. Years passed, and Noah grew into a kind and curious boy. He had dark hair, bright eyes, and a smile that made Elena feel as if the house had finally learned how to breathe again. He called her mom, and she loved him as deeply as if she had carried him herself. But Noah always had questions. When he was 6, he asked why there were no hospital pictures of him as a newborn. Elena sat beside him and told him the truth gently. She told him he had been found on her doorstep in a blue blanket. She told him there had been a note with his name. She told him that whoever left him had asked for him to be protected. Noah listened quietly. Then he asked, "Did my real mother not want me?" The question hurt Elena more than she expected. She took his small hands and said, "I don't know why she left you, sweetheart, but I believe she chose this door because she wanted you to be safe." Noah nodded, but Elena could see the sadness in his eyes. From that day on, a quiet question lived inside him. Who was I before I was found? As he grew older, the question became stronger. He loved Elena deeply, but birthdays were always difficult. Other children heard stories about the day they were born. Noah only had rain, a blue blanket, and a note nobody could explain. At 16, Noah asked to see the note. Elna had kept a copy of it in a small wooden box with the blue blanket and the first tiny clothes she bought for him. When Noah saw the words, he stared at them for a long time. "Do not try to find me," he read softly. "One day, the truth will come out." He looked at Elena and asked, "Do you think she's alive?" Elena wanted to give him hope, but she also knew hope could hurt when it had no answer. "I don't know," she said, "but whoever wrote that note knew your name. That means you mattered to someone." 4 years later, Noah was 20 and studying in another city. He had grown into a thoughtful young man, but the missing part of his story still followed him. One night, he decided to take a DNA test. He did not tell Elena at first because he was afraid she would feel replaced. But Noah was not searching for another mother. He was searching for the beginning of himself. When the results came, there was one close match. A woman named Rachel Bennett, possible biological aunt. Noah's hand shook as he sent her a message. He explained his name, his age, and how Victor's family did not approve of Amelia. They thought she was poor and not good enough for their son. When Amelia became pregnant, they pressured Victor to leave her and tried to force Amelia to give up the baby. But Amelia refused. "She loved you," Rachel said. "She wanted to keep you more than anything." Noah's voice trembled. "Then why did she leave me?" Rachel wiped her tears. "Because they threatened her. Victor's family told her they would take you away legally, use their money, and make sure she never saw you again. She had no power against them." Rachel explained that Amelia made a desperate plan. She searched for a safe place far from Westbridge. She remembered Elena from a hospital charity event, where Elena had volunteered after her husband's death. Amelia had seen kindness in her and had learned that Elena once dreamed of having a child. Elena covered her mouth. "She knew me." Rachel nodded. "She chose your doorstep because she believed you would love him." Noah turned to Elena, and for the first time, the story of his life changed. He had not been left at a random door. His mother had chosen that door, with pain, fear, and love. But the truth was not finished. Noah asked the question he feared most. "Where is Amelia now?" Rachel looked down at the table. "She disappeared the night after she left you." The cafe seemed to go quiet around them. Rachel explained that Amelia came home without the baby and told her only one thing: "He's safe now." The next morning, Amelia was gone. Victor's family claimed Amelia ran away out of shame, but Rachel never believed it. She filed reports and searched for years, but every door closed. The Hale family had influence, and people were afraid to challenge them. Then Rachel pulled an envelope from her bag. This was hidden in Amelia's room. I never understood who it was for until now. Noah saw his name written on the front. He opened the letter slowly. "My beautiful Noah," it began. "If this ever reaches you, then someone finally found the courage to tell the truth." Noah's eyes filled with tears. "I did not leave you because I did not love you. I left you because loving you meant choosing a life where they could not reach you. I watched the woman at the little house on Willow Street. I saw sadness in her face, but I also saw kindness. I hoped maybe the two of you could heal each other." Elena began crying quietly. The letter continued. "If one day you hate me, I will understand. If one day you wonder why I did not fight harder, please know that I fought with the only weapon I had. I gave you away before they could take you." Noah pressed the letter to his chest, but there was one final paragraph. "Your father is not the monster They may say he is. Victor wanted to help us, but his family controlled everything. If he's alive, he may not know where you are. Do not let bitterness become your home. For weeks, Noah could barely sleep. He wanted answers about Amelia. But now, he also wanted to know whether his father had truly abandoned him or had been trapped by the same powerful family. With Rachel and Elena beside him, Noah continued searching. Eventually, they found Victor living under a different name in a quiet coastal town. He was older, sick, and alone. When Noah stood at his door, Victor looked at him once and nearly collapsed. "I knew it," Victor whispered. "I knew you were alive." Inside Victor's small house, the final truth came out. Victor had tried to return for Amelia and the baby, but his parents told him Amelia had left with another man and taken the child. They showed him fake letters and sent him away to protect the family name. Years later, when he learned Amelia had disappeared, he began searching quietly. But records had been changed, people had lied, and too much time had passed. Victor had never stopped looking. Noah showed him the blue blanket, the first note, and Amelia's letter. Victor broke down completely. "She saved you from all of us," he said, "even from me." The truth eventually exposed the Hale family's lies. Old documents proved they had paid people to hide information and silence questions after Amelia disappeared. Some answers remained lost forever, but Noah finally knew the most important truth. He had not been unwanted. He had been protected. 1 year later, Noah stood in Elena's living room. Had carried pain, but it had also carried love. Elena's loneliness became motherhood. Noah's unanswered questions became a bridge to the family he never knew. Sometimes love does not arrive in the way we expect. Sometimes it arrives in the middle of a storm, wrapped in a blue blanket, crying on a doorstep. And sometimes, 20 years later, the truth finally comes out and proves that what looked like abandonment was actually the greatest sacrifice a mother could make. The mystery of the baby on the doorstep followed them like a shadow. But the truth did not destroy them. It connected the broken pieces of many lives. Amelia's choice or the Sojaj had carried pain, but it had also carried love. Elena's loneliness became motherhood. Noah's unanswered questions became a bridge to the family he never knew. Sometimes love does not arrive in the way we expect. Sometimes it arrives in the middle of a storm, wrapped in a blue blanket, crying on a doorstep. And sometimes, 20 years later, the truth finally comes out and proves that what looked like abandonment was actually the greatest sacrifice a mother could make.